Good evening, family. Thanks for checking out my video today. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. I'm doing a Sunday night live stream, and so I just gonna go over some things and hopefully some people pop in here. I don't normally go live on Sunday evening, so we'll see how it goes. But if you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you have any questions, make sure you throw them down in the chat below. If you're watching this on a replay, any comments, I love it when people comment and participate in on the live stream. But if you'd like to participate on my live streams, I usually go live most weekdays around 4 p.m. Central Time. And outside of the live stream, you can consider joining the Discord I've created or the Facebook group I have. There are links for those down in the description below. Today is day 1037 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. And so far, through a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet, I have been able to lose 270 pounds, going from 520 pounds to 250 pounds. So I'm very happy with the results that I've had so far, and I'm very excited about reaching my ultimate goal of losing 300 pounds and beyond. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. And if you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe there's something we can help you with. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing or that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier? So let's go ahead, switch over to the main here. I got a few people checking in. I want to say hi here. Carrie's checking in. Hi, Carrie. Karen and Ron are here. Pretty Girl's mom, plant-powered peddler Janet is here. All the regulars, thanks for checking in. Hello, hello. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. We have kind of a long weekend here with the holiday tomorrow. So I thought maybe I would hop on here late tonight and see how it goes. So and what I was going to talk about today is starting your own weight loss challenge, getting going. It's something that is so hard for so many of us, and I struggled with it for years and years. You know, occasionally getting something to spark and go and lose some weight, but then falling off the wagon and spending so much time trying to get going again and never finding anything that worked for me until now. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what I think I did to help make this a much more successful experience than any other weight loss that I've done in the past. So yeah, it's so tough to get started for so many of us. I know I put it off for the last time I lost weight before this current time was in 2013. And so for like 7.5 years, 6 years, I'm see if I can fix the focus on my camera. So for 6 years, I struggled to get started to do something, you know, after I had lost weight and then failed in my mind back in 2013, 2014. It made it tough, like mentally, to get going, to get doing it again. And because it was so difficult to lose weight all of those times in the past, I knew, or I thought I knew, the struggle that was ahead. And I didn't know if I had it in me to go through that struggle again. I hope that makes sense. And so it took getting to the point where I was 520 pounds. And I think that happens a lot, where it takes having to get some sort of terminal diagnosis or have something like shoved in your face to say you have to change now or you're going to die. And while I'm fortunate I didn't have a doctor or a catastrophic event that led me to starting this challenge, I was living a terminal life. I was living very poorly. I knew that my health was catching up to me, and I needed to do something. And so I created this challenge. And when I created the challenge, I didn't know what the future held. I just knew that I needed to do something and I needed to get started. And I put what I felt like was a huge challenge, a huge obstacle in front of myself to do these things. But I think that it was so important to make all of my major goals huge obstacles. Because in the past I had set goals to lose weight until a relative's wedding, or lose 50 pounds, or, stick to a diet for a couple weeks. I would make these goals that were obtainable goals that I would usually hit. Many times it would be to get to 350 pounds or to get to 300 pounds when I was, in between those weights, to lose 50-ish pounds, and I'd lose that 50 pounds and I would feel like I succeeded and I had won. But in reality, I was just a little bit lighter version of my unhealthy self. I never really got to a healthy weight. I never got to a point where I could say I was healthy. I was healthier in some ways, but I wasn't healthy. And so that's why I put this challenge in front of myself, and I made it, I made what I would say was an extremely difficult challenge. But now that I'm at day 1037, I'm within a couple months of my time challenge. And it's crazy to think that I've been doing this for over 1,000 days, and that I've been doing this for over 1,000 days when I didn't know if I would make it through the first 10 days. Yeah, so getting started and doing it, and what was my challenge, and answer some of those questions, I guess. But the first thing, I guess, that, like I said, I would set these maybe small goals, or just like, hey, I'm just going to eat good starting Monday. Like I'm going to start my diet Monday, and my goal is going to be to just eat good on Monday. But Monday shows up and I hadn't done any planning. You have to do a little bit of planning. You have to make decisions ahead of time. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to start Monday, without cleaning out your pantry, buying new food, having a diet plan, or at least a concept of what you're going to do. You have to figure out the who, what, when, where, and why of your diet. You can't just say, I'm going to start Monday. It's got to be something that it's not just for Monday. It's the whole week. It's the whole month. And so when I started this challenge, I challenged myself to do this for 3 years, because I looked at my diet history and I looked at the different ways where I had lost 40 pounds in the past, or 50 pounds in the past, or even as much as over 100 pounds in the past. And I realized that I never stuck to any of those diets for longer than a few months, or really the longest diet I can remember being on prior to this one was 10 months. And I had the help of pharmaceutical intervention. I was taking pills that were prescribed to me to suppress my appetite, and I was able to take those pills for 9 to 10 months, and then I wasn't able to continue taking them. Once I was no longer taking them, the diet fell apart. And so I had never done it for longer than that period, and on my own, with my own willpower, I hadn't done it for more than a few months. And so I knew that I needed to do something or change my life to a point where it was sustainable, where I could do it the rest of my life. It wasn't just something that I could do for a few months to lose weight. I've talked about this a lot, that I realized that I was going from the diet of a 600-pound person to a diet of a 100 or a 90-pound person. So I was going from this very gluttonous diet to this very starvation diet. And the gluttony diet was winning because I was much closer to 600 pounds than I was to 100 pounds. I would just remove foods from my diet and I wouldn't replace them. And so I was just eating less food, and that isn't sustainable. And I knew that I couldn't sustain eating that small amount of food forever. And so that's why I challenged myself to do this for 3 years, because I needed to figure out how to eat this way the rest of my life. And when I was in high school, I used to go to a wrestling camp, and one of the coaches at the wrestling camp, he was this old guy that he would stand up there and he would tell us every day we'd be drilling, we'd be doing, we had 3 practices a day, 5 days or 7 days in a row. And every practice he would be up there saying, while we're drilling these moves over and over again, he would say, you got to do it 1,000 times. You got to do it until it's in the back of your brainstem. You got to do it 1,000 times. And that kind of stuck with me. And that's part of the reason why I challenged myself to do this for 3 years, is because that's over 1,000 days. I got to do it 1,000 times. I got to do it 1,000 days, not just 1,000 Mondays, or not just one Monday, not just tomorrow, not just Monday, but 1,000 days. I had to work and challenge myself to make my health and my well-being my number one priority. And that was a huge, like I said, driving factor for me to deciding to do this for that amount of time. And really, it's that 1,000 days was just the first 1,000 days of the next 10,000 whatever days I have left. So the first big part of my challenge was the time. And you have to make it a challenge. It has to be something where you are working towards this big goal, because the little goals, they're great when you hit them, but then you have to reset the goalpost. With my challenge, doing this for 3 years, and then the other big part of it for me was to lose 300 pounds. I never imagined being 220 pounds prior to starting this challenge. every time I ever thought to go on a diet, it was to maybe get down under 300 pounds or to get to 275 pounds. But I never thought to try to get to an actual healthy weight. And 220 pounds still is heavy. It still leaves me overweight for my size, but it is bigger than I ever thought, or it's a lighter weight. It's smaller than I ever thought. But the idea of how much weight I could lose is more than I had ever thought I could get to. And by having that big of a challenge, that 300-pound challenge, that has allowed me to hit all of these other milestones. Sure, I could have made a goal to hit 50 pounds. I did that. I could have made a goal to lose 100 pounds. I did that. 200 pounds, I've done it. 250 pounds, I've done it. I'm able to say that I hit all those goals that would have been great goals to have. And they would have, it's awesome that I achieved those, but it would have left me standing there with my arms raised in victory when I really haven't won, because I'm not a healthy weight. I'm not where I want to be yet. And I can remember in the past when I would hit that 300-pound milestone, or that 285 pounds. Like, I can remember hitting that milestone and seeing 284 pounds on the scale. And it was the last time I saw myself under 300 pounds, because I thought I won. I thought I had conquered the beast. But in reality, I was nowhere near it, because I never learned how to eat. Again, I went from the diet of a 600-pound person to the diet of a 90-pound person. So I never really learned anything. I learned how to cut weight, but I never learned how to lose weight healthfully and to maintain that weight loss. And it's got to be a big goal. It's got to be a challenge. It can't just be to lose 20 pounds. Depending on where you are or how much you have to lose. But if you are in my position where you're 500 pounds, you're 400 pounds, it can't just be, I want to lose 20 pounds. It needs to be, I want to be a healthy weight. And maybe that's the goal. No matter what weight you are, that's the goal you should have, is I want to be a healthy weight. I want to be a healthy person. And it takes time to do that. And it's a big goal. It's a much bigger goal than, like I said, I ever imagined for myself. And now that I'm at the 250-pound mark and I see how close 220 is, now I'm moving my goalpost. And now I'm saying I need to be a healthy weight. And 220 might be a healthy weight for me. I don't know. But I imagine that I'll have a little bit more weight I can lose at that 220-pound mark. Couple comments here. Janet says that they just finished a 47 miles on the bicycle. That is awesome. Way to go. And then she says, so true, Jonathan. She has a list of groceries to pick up tomorrow for the week. Making Lisa's pierogies tonight. Sounds awesome. Karen here says, I never thought I'd see 150 pounds, let alone 130. I never even had 130 on my radar. Yeah, up until I started this challenge, I never thought about getting that light. And then now, really for the last year, at least, I realized that 220 might not be far enough, and that it maybe 200 is where I need to be. But yeah, it's your goal should be to be a healthy weight. Look at the BMI chart and see what a healthy weight is for somebody. You know, I started off with the goal of just being overweight. That's what it would get me to. Janet here says, how tall am I? I am 6 foot tall. And And Janet here is saying that she thought 138 was barely achievable, let alone 108. Yes, you can eat healthfully and you can become a healthy weight. And that was in my mind starting this challenge. One of the things I thought to myself was that if I could just find out how to eat the way the 200 or the 220-pound version of myself has to eat to maintain that weight, then eventually I will become that weight. Like we're not destined to be overweight. There's some combination of food that allows you to be a healthy weight. And I knew I had to be able to find that combination. I knew the combination that I was eating was incorrect, and that all of the other diets I did in the past were incorrect. And so I knew I needed to find a new way to eat, and I needed to change, and I needed to break those old habits. And it's tough to do. And it's in the world that we live in, we have such access to foods that it's nearly impossible. It's impossible to passively be healthy in our society. I truly believe you can't just walk around and eat the food you have access to and live life blindly and be a healthy weight. The people that are a healthy weight, for the most part, outside of people who are sick or have some sort of condition that's causing them to be underweight, you have to make conscious choices to avoid the pleasure trap foods, the easy foods, like even walking through Costco, you get handed free food that you shouldn't be eating, but it's there. It's just, you have to make the choice to say no, to walk around it, to buy the foods that take more time to cook, to process your own foods, to take the control over what you consume out of other people's hands and put it in your own hands. And it's so tough to break away from that. And so I believe that if you want to get away from the pressures and the temptations of the foods that are around us, you have to do some sort of reset to your diet, some sort of reset to your system. You have to break your old habits. And for me, I did a water fast. And if it's something that you are interested in doing, I think that water fasting can be a great way to reset your system. But you don't have to go as far as water fasting. You can do a lot of other things to reset your system. You can do a potato only diet. You can mono diet. You could do a rice diet or potato diet where you just eat bulk of your diet is those items. You could do a juice fast. You don't have to do it for a long time, but you have to do it long enough to get that addiction, to break those addictions you have, whether they're mental addictions or physical addictions. You have to take the time to break away from them. And doing a mono diet, simplifying your diet, there's what is it, like the autoimmune protocol, like where you just eliminate things, just remove things from your diet, because I'm overweight because I have an excess of something, of everything. And so removing everything for a short time, or at least clearing the table and starting fresh, is very important. you have to get away from the temptations. You have to clear your cupboards. You have to work to stick to your diet. It can't happen passively. It has to be something that you work towards doing. And you have to be willing to break habits. You have to look and see, where are you having these issues? Is it that you are, buying stuff because you're in the grocery store? Then maybe you got to look at ordering online and doing grocery pickup, where you don't have to be in those spots where you're tempted. Is it that you're going to gas stations and buying sodas? You have to pay at the pump, or change your habits with that. Is it going to the work and having employees? Like, I know you have to go to work, but you have to find where your temptations are hitting you, and you have to work on them, and you have to remove the temptations, and you have to make it easier to stay on your diet than the alternative. You have to have food around you. You have to have food in your future, have, an abundance of foods that you can eat. And and then a big thing to help is have some accountability. To get started, you got to tell someone. If you're telling yourself diet starts Monday, it's probably the 100th time or the 1,000th time that you've told yourself that the diet starts Monday. You got to tell someone. You got to tell everyone. I don't know. You got to tell some people. And you have to realize that, your circle is great for a small amount of accountability, but it doesn't give you that accountability that you need. It's something that I never, succeeded with Weight Watchers, but I loved the weekly meetings. I loved the check-ins. I loved being able to stand up and talk about the success you had. The accountability of it, I really enjoyed. And even, I had that experience too when I was going to see a doctor. We did weekly meetings with group meetings, and I thought it was great. And I think that telling someone and being accountable is extremely important, because you can only hit yourself so hard. If I say hit yourself in the leg, you can only hit yourself so hard. But if you tell someone else to hit you in the leg, they're going to hit, they could hit you harder. If it's someone in your inner circle, though, they're not going to hit you that hard. You got to, make it. I think making it public helps. I mean, it did for me. I didn't know if anybody would watch these videos. I didn't know if I would have, at the end of 3 years, if I'd have 1 follower or 1,000 followers. I had no idea what I would have going in. But just getting in front of the microphone, talking about this, showing my progress, that accountability was amazing. And you don't have to start a YouTube channel where you go live like I did, but maybe start some social media. It's easy. There's so many platforms that you can get on, and you can be somewhat anonymous, and put it out there and let people know. And you have to understand that whether you tell one person or you tell 1,000 people or tens of thousands of people, that you're going to have moments where you're going to disappoint yourself and you're going to disappoint everyone you've told. But the goal should be to make them proud again, to be back at it again. You don't give up on making it happen, because you have to understand that when I look back at my timeline, that I spent 38 years of my life doing it wrong. And until now, I didn't even know that a whole food plant-based diet existed, or until 1,030 days ago. I didn't know that a plant-based diet was a diet that people ate. And so I have to give myself grace. I have to understand that I am learning, and I need to learn how to eat this way, because I spent 38 years eating the wrong way. And it would be silly for me to think that after day one or week one or month one or year one, that I would be an expert at eating this completely different way. Nobody gets on their bike and wins the Tour de France the first time they ride. You have to spend years and years of dedication to get to that point. And, your goal doesn't have to be winning the Tour de France either. It could be to just, ride your bike 30 miles. It's something that it's not it's something that you have to work to be better at. And you have to understand that there's no pressure to get it done quickly. There's no deadline for figuring it out. And you have the rest of your life to figure it out. That's any time that I've had a slip up in the past 1,000 days, it's been a learning experience. It's been, why did that happen? What was the cause of that to happen? And how did I get myself away from it? How did I remove myself from the temptation, or how did I change my patterns that helped me to remove the issues from my diet? And I've been able to become better and learn new things and learn what I need to avoid or what I need to allow. But because it wasn't an all or nothing thing on day one, it was, I was able to, because I didn't treat it that way. I didn't treat it like it was all or nothing. I treated this diet like I had no idea what to do, because I had no idea what to do. And I spent the first 2 years listening to every audio book I could get my hands on about this way of eating, because I knew that I was ignorant to it. And so I'm still learning, but I'm becoming much better at it. I'm better at eating this way, providing for myself in this way, and just living my life now than I was when I started. When I first started this, I can remember opening the pantry doors and staring at all of this food, because the pantry was full. There was all kinds of food in the pantry, but just looking at it and being like, I don't know what to do with any of this stuff. We had ingredients that I had, some I had rarely eaten, some I had never eaten. And in some of the things that I had eaten, I had never prepared it myself. And so we had to learn how to eat this way, and we picked up a few gadgets that helped us along the way. But it's a learning experience. Hence the 3 years. It's quicker than going to college, I guess, right? You can get your, in 3 years, but it's you don't get summers off. So I guess that's different. Yeah, it's just, get some accountability, tell people, start an Instagram page, start something, let people know that you're doing it. And get on here, tell me here, go on our Discord and tell people you're getting started. Let somebody know. And, understand that accountability though is 100% still on you. You have to come back and check in, because it's easy. I could have made one video and then disappeared, or 5 videos and then disappeared, but it's checking back in. It's holding yourself to that accountability somewhat, and there's lots of people that have checked in the past here, and I'd love to see them check in again, but I know that their lives have sent them a different direction. And that's something too, that when you start this challenge and you challenge yourself to do this for 3 years and then realize that it's the rest of your life, you also have to realize that life is going to get in the way of these changes that you're making. You can push life aside to help you lose weight for a certain amount of time, but eventually you have to stop pushing away those things that you were, life's going to happen. It just is. You can't control what is, what's going to be put in front of you. And when you decide to start many of your diets, you think about, okay, well, I don't have anything coming up this month, or I don't have anything coming up for a couple months, or, you're thinking about that 6-month period. Maybe you're thinking about the next year, but it's the rest of your life. And so things are going to pop up, things that you think you can avoid forever. You're not going to be able to avoid forever. You're going to have to face them. And then you're going to have accidents. You're going to have things that you don't expect to happen. I tore my distal bicep tendons on both of my arms in the past 2 years, and they were totally unrelated incidences, but I could never have guessed that I was going to do that when I started this challenge on November of 2020. I'm sure there's countless other things that have happened between then and now that I'm just blanking on, but those are the two. It's the biggest thing I can think of, that big injury I had. But you're going to have life changes. You're going to have schedule changes with your work. That was a huge thing to change for me. Yes. My work schedule changed. Where I go to work is completely different now than when I started this. And so you can't predict 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So you have to find a diet that you can eat no matter the circumstances. And you have to find a way to stick to that diet no matter the circumstances. And eating a whole food plant-based diet, I think, is by far the easiest way to stick to a diet. I go to bed, I am full, I wake up, I eat a big breakfast or lunch or whatever you want to call it, because I don't eat. I'm not hungry first thing in the morning, so I don't eat until like lunchtime, but I eat an abundance of food when I do eat, and I feel amazing when I eat. I'm going to go back and check a few comments. I kind of rambled there for a while. Carrie here says that she highly recommends the grocery pickup or delivery. There is so much temptation at the grocery store. Absolutely. And I'm really the worst, because I buy to eat vicariously through my children sometimes. And it's not the best thing to do, obviously. But if, there's a grocery store that just opened up near us, and they had some like plant-based chicken strips or something that I had never seen before. And so I bought them for the kids so they could try them. Yes, the grocery pickup really helps remove the temptation. Let's see. Karen here says that she agrees that weight is relative to being healthy. That's why you don't pay attention to BMI much. For me, it's waist to height ratio is more accurate. And then she says she loves the grocery delivery, but even that can be tricky for us addicts. Yes, there is some, yes, I can understand it being tricky. And then, yeah, Carrie says that, yeah, her 3 years ago when we started this, she was a stay-at-home mom with lots of time to make meals, and now she is a full-time working mom. And so that has changed, and it's made things more difficult with our planning of food or having things, our schedule had to change because of it. And so, yeah, life is going to get in the way. Yes. So, yeah, I really, if you're watching this and you are, even a little overweight, but if you're 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds overweight, you have to put a big challenge in front of yourself because you have a massive challenge ahead of you. When I started this at 520 pounds, I knew that it was going to take a lot of work and it was going to take a lot of time. And those are, yeah, it's not a quick fix. It's not a race to get to a healthy weight. Because really for me, once I got under 400 pounds, I lost 120 pounds and I lost it very quickly. But once I got under that 400-pound mark and my diet was clean, it was perfect, I quit feeling unhealthy. I knew I was overweight and I knew that my excess body weight was making me unhealthy. But the way I felt was completely different. When I was on my way up to 500 pounds, and I was, 380, 390, 400 pounds, I felt awful. I was eating just crap diet. But on my way back down, I have felt incredible the entire time. And I know that eating this way is what's helped me to feel that way. And it's been so satisfying to lose this weight and to do it without some outside, without the gimmick, the yeah, the program, the going to the Weight Watchers or buying the meal plans or going to a doctor and taking medicine or hitting the gym 6 times a week, that I've been able to lose this weight through my diet. And it's been awesome because it hasn't been this starvation that I was so used to. That was how every other diet worked. Just eat less and move more. But it doesn't work. If it worked, we'd be surrounded by skinny people, but we're not surrounded by skinny people. We're not anywhere near surrounded by skinny people. So yeah, you have to put a challenge in front of yourself, and it's a huge challenge, but it's worth doing it. I there's these people that do these endurance races or these endurance events, and that's what this is. This is an endurance event. This is something that you aren't going to, you're not going to do quick. And nothing, it's not worth it. It's every time I've lost weight quickly, it's come back. And I'm sure that that's the case for many people out there. And so you have to change. You have to Take the time to learn, educate yourself, read some books, pick up The Pleasure Trap, pick up Eat to Live, pick up How Not to Die, How Not to Diet, The Starch Solution. There's all kinds of incredible books. Look down in the description of the video to see all of the books that I've read over the past 3 years. And I've learned something from all of those books. And it's not quick. And it's going to be something that it's so worth it. It's so worth it to get started, to get going, and to see the success in the end. But I am going to get out of here because I still got to travel home and do all kinds of stuff. So I appreciate you guys for checking out this video. If you have any comments or suggestions on how people can get started on their own weight loss challenge, leave it down in the comments below. Make sure you do hit the like button on this video. It really helps out with the YouTube stuff. I got to go put the kids to bed, Carrie says. So I got to get home and put them to bed. Thank you guys so much for all of the support and all of the encouragement. It absolutely is huge. If you have not subscribed to my channel, get subscribed to the channel. Click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. And if you have not started your own weight loss challenge, you haven't started your own diet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. And what are you going to do a year from now when you can't avoid it anymore? 2 years from now, you're going to have to face these events. You're going to have to lose the weight, or you're going to have to do it while you're on a diet. So don't keep putting it off. Put some work in, make a plan, and challenge yourself to do it for longer than you've ever challenged yourself. Challenge yourself to lose more weight than you ever thought possible. Get started, guys. I will see you maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. We'll see. But I'll see you on the next one.